Raiden, turn the game console off right now.
Welcome to another chaotic disaster with a Dr. Chimera. Today we're on number 18. Raiden. Build it in. Now I did, as promised, look up the game. I'm going to insert a recap here.
Raiden A is a 1990 vertically scrolling shooter arcade video game, developed by Shigeru Keihatsu and published by Tecmo in Japan. 1. The game's story takes place in the year 2090, when an alien species known as the Crystals invaded Earth. Players assume the roles of the vanquished Crystal Defense pilot duo, taking control of two state-of-the-art fighting Thunders aircraft to defeat the Crystals and save the Earth.
So I imagine it's just a flat-out 8-bit rip-off of that 16-bit game. Could be.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. Oh. Wow. That's quick. Jesus. Now, there's a joke between me and my friends because I'm a big fan of the R-Type series.
What's going on?
Okay. Anyway, I'm a big fan of the R-Type series, but we find them extremely hard. So we use the phrase R-Type hard. And this is beyond R-Type hard. It's stuff coming from every direction. Tiny little pellets which blend in with the background. This is new. I'm going to keep this going and just see what happens.
Oh, I don't know what I expected.
Alright then. So, what happens if I continue? Do I just pick up from that precise spot? Okay, when I push the top button, it unleashes an enormous hellstorm that destroys everything. But I don't seem to have any counter as to the number of times I can do that. I can just do that whenever I want. I don't lose a heart. I can't do it anymore. There's no indication as to why. It's like an ass-seeking rocket. So you do get death invulnerability, but for a very short period. What even is that? It's like a top-down view of a space helicopter? This is one of these unplayable because it's difficult games. I have a feeling that this is going to be a relatively short one just because Okay, what happens? Oh, I just pick up where I left off? Alright. Can I just do that forever? Do I have a continues counter that's hidden from me? Like my Hellstorm counter? Because I could say, trying to balance game difficulty by giving the player infinite continues is not really the way to do it. And because there's only 2 enemies and a scrolling repeating background, it's not like it would be an easy task to just memorize the level layout, which is generally how you play a rail shooter, which is one of my favourite genres. And I know what I'm doing when I play them, it's just that the ones that have been in this compilation have not been great.
Understatement is the description of something as having much less of a particular quality than it does.
So it seems that the secret to surviving in this one is to learn the... buggeration. is to learn when the game is just about to go absolute shit hive maggots crazy, and then just hit the blow them all up button. Okay, it seems that NASA is the first boss. Doesn't seem to be affected by that firestorm. I'm desperately trying not to make an inappropriate joke here, just about NASA and its many tragedies.
If I go down, I'm taking you with me.
Okay, that counts. We take those. Okay, I'm on stage 2. I'm still curious about the number of continues I have, if there is a number.
Thanks to denial, I'm immortal.
Yeah, this really feels like they're trying to replicate a 16-bit or perhaps arcade, which was where Raiden, I still don't know which pronunciation they use, Raiden, was a 16-bit or an arcade-style gameplay, where obviously you can be quite frantic because you will typically have a much larger screen. I do not have time to dodge anything. Way. Yeah, see, look, the only way to dodge those guys was to swoop around into my enemies. Yeah, it's difficult to compare this one to Star Battle, because Star Battle played more like a game. This one is more impressive in some ways. The graphics are actually fairly decent. I wouldn't even really call this 8-bit. And there's slightly more depth. I'm guessing that if I get more power-ups, which thankfully are not on parachutes and actually look like power-ups, I'll end up with a more powerful, like a progressively more powerful gun, which is typically how your R-type shooters work. But I so far haven't been able to survive long enough to test that theory. When my dad watched the Apache Overkill episode, in which I told the story, the 100% accurate, no matter what he says, story of being incensed. One more life. Of being incensed by my missing the power-ups. He was literally crying with laughter, so there you go. You know, at least one person likes watching these. Ooh. Looks kind of like one of those weird boomerang-headed ancient fish lizard things that they based the pseudo-legend, okay, simultaneous death, the latest pseudo-legendary on
Diplocaulus is by far the
Dreepy.
largest and best known of the lepistondals, characterized by a distinctive
Whoa,
boomerang-shaped
new
skull.
enemies!
Remains attributed to
That's
Diplocaulus
fascinating.
have been
That's a
found
new
from the late
one
Permian of
for
Morocco and represent the youngest known occurrence
the
of
Orb
the
Retro
lepistondal.
Classics. Is having new enemies appear as you progress in the game. I know I said one more life, but I just had to see. Okay, well, they are just like missile men. Whatever, that's enough for today. So that was Raiden. In terms of gameplay, it was too hard. It's that simple. But also, it was too easy. It's that simple. Because you had infinite one-ups. So you could just play as long as you wanted. In terms of absurdity, nothing weird here. Just your average fighter in space. It's the silence, it's done itself. Normally it would reset at that point. And in terms of name accuracy, As far as I'm aware, that means Thunder God. And unless there was one of those piloting it, that's getting a 1 out of 10. So that's Raiden. And up next is Domain War, which could be about people fighting over website addresses. I don't know what I'm talking about. See you tomorrow.